Hello, I'm Nathan Sowry, and I'm the reference archivist at the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of the American Indian. Today, I'm going to provide a really brief tutorial on how to access Native American archival materials at the Smithsonian Institution. And before I get into the actual searching, I want to say, please reach out to us via email, by telephone, by any other means you can, because I know people do often have difficulty with such a large website. So I want to say the best way to reach out to Smithsonian archive staff would be the following email address. It's nmaiarchives@si.edu or nmaiphotos@si.edu. Both of those come right to me, so I can answer those for everyone. So to get into Smithsonian online searching, I should also preface by saying clearly not all of the Smithsonian's collections are available online. There are millions and millions of different archival, library, and museum object collections at the Smithsonian. Only a minor fraction of those actually have some sort of an online presence, whether that's the basest catalog record or a completely digitized collection. So with those materials that do have an online presence, that's what I'm going to show you how to search today. For any other collections, again, please reach out to us, reach out to me or other Smithsonian staff, and we can find a way to provide access to you. So two of the main portals to get into Smithsonian's collections that are available online are the Smithsonian Collection Search Center and the Smithsonian Online Virtual Archives. I'll do a couple of brief searches through both of those websites, and beyond that, again, you can reach out to me for further information. So the Smithsonian Collection Search Center, which you can find online at the following URL, collections.si.edu. That search provides access to all of the Smithsonian's collections that are online. So not just limited to those at the National Museum of the American Indian or at the National Museum of the American Indian Archive Center where I work. All of the Smithsonian collections that are available online, you can find at Collections Search Center. So that's going to include all of the library materials, all of the museum objects, all of the archival materials, which may be photos, manuscripts, audiovisual. So to do a quick search on the Collections Search Center, it's basically built like the familiar Google search. You type into the main search function, and I'm already familiar with this search, so I'm just going to go for the culture term. No, I'm not going for the culture term Seminole art. I'm going for Seminole. There we go. Okay, so it'll search for a little bit and bring up everything at the Smithsonian related to the term Seminole, which the results show over 18,000 items. Interestingly, as these are coming up from every different Smithsonian museum, archive, or library, the first one, for whatever reason, is Seminole vegetable laxative. I'm not sure why that comes up first. It's by the, oh, there you go. It's by the maker, the maker's Seminole Drug Company. Below that, there's an insect from the NMNH entomology department at Natural History that has the name Seminole. As you can see, you're going to come up with any number of really strange results that may not be exactly what you're looking for. But this is the best entry way to do it, to search from a really broad perspective and then narrow and filter down your search. As I'm quickly scrolling through, I do come down to some more Seminole culture materials. There's, looks like there's drawings and photographs of Seminole dwellings, a Seminole woman's skirt that's at the Natural History Museum, Seminole music in Smithsonian libraries. So it really runs the gamut of everything that would be at Smithsonian. You can search, however, on the left-hand side of the screen to filter your search for different formats, for different types of material, for different collection repositories themselves. So I'm scrolling on the left-hand side of the screen under Catalog Record Source, which shows me all of the different locations at the Smithsonian that have something related to the term Seminole. National Anthropological Archives, not surprisingly, is at the top of the list with over 14,000 of those items, just because the National Anthropological Archives has such huge collections of Native American related material. But again, scrolling down through, there's lots of interesting results that come up for invertebrate zoology department, entomology, all of these other locations at Smithsonian. So that's the really broad search, the way to look through everything at Smithsonian that has an online presence for a certain culture term, place, location, whatever it may be. However, if you're specifically looking for archival materials, I would recommend the Smithsonian Online Virtual Archives, which is the other main portal to get into Smithsonian collections. So clicking over to the Smithsonian Online Virtual Archives, its URL is simply sova, S-O-V-A, .si.edu. And it's built very similarly to the Smithsonian Collection Search Center, where it searches across the entire Smithsonian, but in this case, just those archival units at Smithsonian. Again, this doesn't limit you just to National Museum of the American Indian Archive Center. It's going to pull materials from the National Anthropological Archives, the National Museum of American History, etc. So, searching just within the SOVA, or the Smithsonian Online Virtual Archives, I'll do that same search for the term Seminole. And the results come up with 122 different records. Again, a good way to narrow or limit your search, you can look again on the left-hand side of the screen, just like in the Collection Search Center, and limit or narrow your results by culture, name, topic, Archival Repository, which is the main one I go to, knowing that there are collections, that there are very similar collections at the National Anthropological Archives as there are at the National Museum of the American Indian Archive Center. I know that I might be doing research at the National Anthropological Archives and would limit my search to that, or vice versa with the Museum of the American Indian. So looking through our results there, several different manuscripts are coming up for National Anthropological Archives. A number of photos start to emerge. But I wanted to look specifically at my repository at the National Museum of the American Indian Archive Center. So scrolling down on the left-hand side of the screen under Archival Repository, I see there are 16 different results for National Museum of the American Indian for the term Seminole. So that's a much more manageable group to work with. And the first one is a wonderful result because I see there's a little digitized content box. It's an interesting little blue box. But basically, it lets us know that there is digitized material in that collection. So I click on that. It's the John C. Casey letter books. And clicking on that brings us right to the overall finding aid record that the staff at the National Museum of the American Indian Archive Center has already created. You can scroll down through, and of course it's going to show you the normal finding aid material. But I wanted to highlight that it will have, let's see, it has under contents, of course, more of the digitized material, again with that little gift box saying digitized content. What's really great about Smithsonian Online Virtual Archives and the Smithsonian Collection Search Center is that those different museums who have been able to digitize materials are able to put those digitized materials up online, accessible to everyone, like I'm pulling up with the John C. Casey journals. I should mention, John C. Casey was a Bureau of Indian Affairs employee in mid-19th century, right around 1850, working in Tampa Bay, Florida, and he was actually working to forcibly remove Seminole peoples from their homelands, from the state of Florida. We're very happy to say, I'm very happy to say that John C. Casey was not that successful in his mission, and Seminole peoples are still living in Florida today. So we're delighted that I guess John C. Casey just wasn't that good at his job, and the Seminole peoples really wanted to remain in their homelands. So that's a little more tangential, but just to give you an answer as to why that particular search came up when we're looking for Seminole people. So here you can see I can really zoom in on those digitized images. This is from his letter book. You can see Tampa Bay, Florida, January 7th, 1850 at the top of the screen. And as I scroll down on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see all of the different materials that have been digitized there just under the letter books. And what makes it even more helpful to the remote user, for those people who can't physically come to Washington, D.C. or to Suitland, Maryland, where the National Museum of the American Indian Collections are. Just from searching online, you're able to create a little PDF of all of that material. So you don't just have to save that URL on your own laptop. You can save a PDF of all the digitized material to your laptop and save it and print it out. Additionally, one other really interesting function, this is available in both the Smithsonian Collections Search Center and the Smithsonian Online Virtual Archives, this capability to zoom in to create PDFs of digitized material. But something that Smithsonian just recently released was the Transcription Center, which works in conjunction with other Smithsonian units. It's its own Smithsonian branch. But clicking here on the John C. Casey letter books into the Transcription Center, you can see, again, these digitized images. So the Transcription Center was created to transcribe materials that are otherwise difficult to read, nearly illegible, and now we've gone beyond just textual materials to audiovisual materials, and we're starting to transcribe audio recordings, sound recordings, so we're very excited about that. But I just mentioned the Transcription Center briefly. Here I've clicked on the digital image there within the Transcription Center of the John C. Casey letter books. Again, on the left-hand side of the screen, I can zoom in really closely. There's the letter from John C. Casey, Tampa Bay, January 7th, 1850, but on the right-hand side of the screen is the transcribed version. So you can see the ramifications. That makes it so much easier to do research once it's been transcribed. A lot of people, unfortunately, today aren't that familiar with reading cursive from the mid-19th century, and it can give you quite an eye strain trying to read that on a computer screen. So fortunately, with our transcription volunteers who have worked to transcribe all of this material, you can read it, you can do keyword searching to find certain terms, and again, with that PDF function, you can actually create a PDF that you could store and keep at home that would be perhaps hundreds of pages that you otherwise would just have to slowly scroll through online. So briefly, that's a quick search. I know there are so many millions of more items available on the Smithsonian Collection Search Center, on Smithsonian Online Virtual Archives. And I want to stress again that I'm here to help you navigate, to help you search through these different functions, because it can be quite confusing. Again, the best way to reach me or other Smithsonian NMAI archive staff would be nmaiarchives@si.edu or nmaiphotos@si.edu. And I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.